listen. It's good. Well, howdy, buckaroos and buckarows. You've made it here to episode 175 of the Rootinest Tootinest podcast about video games you ever did see. My name is Matt Silverman, of course, joined almost as always by the one and only Colette Bennett. Her name is in the title. Hello.
Howdy ho!
Woo! Howdy, partner.
That's all I could think about when you started like that. Hello.
Howdy ho. Hello. We have not sat down to speak in a little while, and my first question for you is how is everything at your home and neighborhood after this hurricane has swept through?
Luckily for us, it was completely mild. I think I saw a couple of broken trees down the street. Unfortunately, I know other areas that did not fare as well, but we were almost untouched. I kind of slept through it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wondered if the wind was going to be so loud that it would be a problem, but actually I slept right through it, woke up and was like, okay, that's pretty good. So, as it all goes, can't complain too much about that.
Good. Yeah, I didn't quite understand the scope. Like, I haven't been paying too close attention to the news, for better or worse, of like, was Georgia hit hard, or was it more in the Carolinas where you're starting to see like big devastation, on the news and stuff like that, right?
I think it's more in the Carolinas. Like, okay. I know a lot of people that lost power, but nobody's saying, oh man, a tree fell into my house. Or, I mean, that's not to say that didn't happen, because I'm sure somewhere it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, not
like the
too
mega
much of that.
Flooding and the buildings being like washed away and shit. That's not on your neck of the woods, thankfully.
Nope. Been there, done that, and luckily it didn't happen this time.
Good. Yeah. Been there, done. They're like, I'm going to pass on this one. Thank you so much.
You know, there comes a point where you kind of have to be a cavalier about it, because you're just kind of like, well, that's okay. Yep.
We had our share of it. Hurricane Sandy was 2012, I'm gonna say, and did not care for it. 0 out of 10 would be my review.
0 out of 10, negative 50 out of 10. Do not recommend ever in this life. But no, actually, it's interesting. Like, people always ask me, because I was a Hurricane Katrina survivor, like, does this make you nervous, et cetera. Right. And for a lot of years, I think maybe I was kind of blocked. And so I don't really think I felt that nervous. Like, very, very unusual. But at any rate, this time I felt it. And I was like, oh. Like, especially, I didn't feel it until it went up to a category 4, and then I really felt it. But by that time, it was just too late to leave or do anything. And if we had left, it would have been, and this is always the toss up with a hurricane, right? Yeah. You can leave and go through all this stress of sitting in traffic of people trying to leave, and nothing can happen. And, it's always a gamble. Mm-hmm. I kind of err on the side of, if the city or the state requires people to evacuate, then I'll go.
Right. Sure.
But otherwise, or if
you know that your exact area is flood prone or in a low lying area or something, or you live on the water, then obviously you need to get the fuck out. But yes, I grew up in my suburb in New Orleans. I grew up, and it was, I think, something like 6 feet under sea level. Yeah.
So when it would rain, the street would just turn into, like a little river. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of, I think that whole area was just fucked to begin with when it came to that. But yeah, like, I live in a second floor, apartment. Like, now, I mean, if I lived in a first floor house and it was, under sea level and all that stuff, maybe I'd feel different. But so luckily the answer is, I am just grand.
Good. I think you said this when we were messaging about maybe something else, where you were getting ready and you were like, well, Katrina was a category 3 and Helene is a category 4. So we're just getting ready over here. And I was like, oh my God. And is that, did I hear that from you, or am I just making shit up? I don't know.
I think you did hear it from me. And, storm strength is absolutely like one factor. But the interesting thing about Katrina is that it actually wasn't the storm strength that knocked New Orleans out.
Yes.
It was the levees breaking
Correct.
because they were poorly made. So constructed in the first place. So that really is what caused the true problem in that situation. I mean, I would say in a category 4 or 5, like it can absolutely like rip, roofs off buildings, as we've seen with the Carolinas. Like that is possible. And I think there's, stuff you have to take into factor, how old is your house?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. But yeah, like don't TLDR, don't fuck with it. Like if it's a really strong storm, if it's a 4 or 5 and you're like, man, my house is kind of old, you should probably leave. That's it.
Unsubscribe. Do not contact. Unsubscribe from hurricanes. Unsubscribe from global warming. I'm just going to opt out. That's my plan.
Yep. Opt out. Do not contact, please.
Text stop to hurricane to stop the hurricanes. All right. We're not here to talk about hurricanes anymore. It's over. We've unsubscribed, but we are here to talk about breaking news. And by breaking news, I mean news from last week or earlier this week. We're not here to break news for you and inform you up to the minute. That's what Twitter X is for, my friends.
We are not Twitter. We are here for discourse.
Oh, I like it.
Discourse. So first, perhaps we should Discord about.
We should Discord.
I don't think that's right.
About it. Okay.
Perhaps we should.
Okay, we'll workshop that.
Perhaps we should discuss. Perhaps we should discuss not this Nintendo guidelines, because that news is from September 2nd. Maybe we don't talk about that today.
Oh, that's not what it is. Hold on. This is not I sent you the wrong link. Hold on.
Yeah, Matt sent me the wrong link. He wants to discuss month-old news, guys. God. You heard it
All
here.
Right, go to the next story. I'll find the correct link. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's okay. It's okay. I think the listeners will giggle. But that said, there is a story that is from a couple days ago about Ubisoft, who, to be honest, I've always thought of as not that great of a company. Their shares are at 10-year lows, and they are facing some real hard questions right now. It postponed the release of the next title in the what I fondly like to call the Ass Creed series. I've never been an Assassin's Creed person. I get that that's their big popular thing. I play the very first one, but I don't know. I just find myself rarely attracted to Ubisoft games, and I always thought, well, it's probably just me. They've been at it for such a long time, but I guess it's not just me.
I've never played an Assassin's Creed, though I have been tempted by some of them. I hear that the pirate one, Black Flag, is a pretty solid game, and I certainly like ships and sailing and ship combat. But I've never dabbled. But it's a huge franchise, and it is sort of like it is their GTA, it is their Call of Duty, let's say. Not as big as those, of course, but it is in the scope of like this franchise needs to hit every time it comes out. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. And as you said, they delayed Shadows, which is the one set in feudal Japan, ancient Japan. It's the samurai one. It looks fantastic. Like if you've peeped at any trailers or screenshots, it's a good looking game that I might be interested in dabbling with, but it's delayed, which then sent share prices down. But it's in the context of larger stuff too, which is like they have not had a big hit seemingly in a good while. And then this is semi personal to me as well, but like they made a Star Wars game. They made Star Wars Outlaws, which really looks good from what I've seen, has gotten pretty solid reviews. and has only sold about 1 million copies, which is basically like zero for a Star Wars licensed game.
Right, right. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm on their homepage right now, and I'm scrolling through all their games, and I just am not interested in any of these. But like I said, I thought maybe other people were. And so I thought, and obviously Assassin's Creed has been around for a really long time. And so I was like, clearly people are buying these games because they keep making them. So maybe what they're finding here is that's not the case. And it's also interesting because, there's this really diverse portfolio of stuff. Oh, Child of Light. That's the only game on this list that I've played.
And I think they just published that. I don't know that they developed it, but I could be wrong. I should look that up. But yeah, that's a beautiful game. Loved it.
It is. But I mean, it's interesting because looking at this, I'm going through the full list. I'm like, this is a very diverse, they're all over the place. They have casual games. They have deeper games. They have music games. Like the portfolio looks good at an eye level. It's like, okay, you have here what you should have, but for some reason it's not. And one of the first things I pause to think about is, I wonder if we're hitting a point. Like Steam has always been there, but I feel like the gap has never been wider between spending $80 on a game that you don't know will be good or not, or going to Steam and, let's just bring up a game like UFO 50, which we were talking about in the Discord yesterday. A game that you're like, oh my God, this is so incredible. It's $24.99. It really makes me wonder. I'm like, are more people going, nah, I don't need to pay that?
Because everything, fucking groceries cost,
and also
$800 a week now, so we've talked about it in other contexts. Hey, our game cost $380 million to make, and if it does not succeed, our AAA studio is bankrupt. Like that fucking model cannot continue. It cannot be the way forward.
Right. Yeah, that's I think a big part of the problem. You have games costing more than ever. And I would go as far as to say a ridiculously large amount of money. And I guess it's like AAA is trying to, keep up, and you have to keep upgrading, everything about what you're doing, and it costs more and more money, but it's just not. I mean, one might think that Hollywood has the same problem, so it makes me wonder how that works.
They do.
I guess
the movie The Wild Robot. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's not a children's book, but maybe you'd call it a YA series of novels. They're wonderful, and my kids, my daughter has read all 3 of them, and we were recommended them by our family. And so this is a beloved book franchise that is now starting to become a movie franchise. And the movie just came out this past weekend. And we went to see it, and it was $18.75 per ticket.
Oh yeah.
To see a 90-minute movie, which was great, by the way. If you know this franchise or you have kids or whatever, go see The Wild Robot or stream it when it's, not up $10,000 to go to the movie theater. And that maybe some of that is regional, here in New York.
No, it's not.
But
it's very expensive here too. My husband and I go to matinees a lot when we want. And we've also found places that do like cheaper matinees, like $9 matinees. And we go to those. We also watch a lot of stuff at home. But like the movies is not just like a thing anymore where you're like, yeah, you want to just do something Friday? It's like, yeah, do you have $60?
Do you have $60?
That's how much but wait, for 2 people, that's 2 people, including the popcorn and a couple of drinks. If you're bringing your whole family, like in your case, you have a wife and 2 kids, like, $100 or more.
It's for 2 hours of entertainment. And it's like, and by comparison, this is so obvious, but like for $10 a month, I can stream 10,000 movies from name your streaming service, or I could go see one movie for $20 a ticket. Or, then you think about it in terms of game value, which we've talked about a lot here, of like, oh man, this game is $60. But if it's great and I love it, I will put 140 hours of joy and entertainment into it versus this 90 minutes on a big screen that I can never. It's harsh to say I can never get it back, because we loved the movie and we loved going, and we went with the kids' friends and we had a wonderful time, but wowzers. Bringing it back to games, though, the Star Wars Outlaws, the premise is like, you're not Luke Skywalker, you are not a Jedi, you are a cool criminal doing heists in the Star Wars universe, clanking stormtroopers' heads together so you can steal the whatever, the credits. I want this game. I would buy this game, except they fucking did not release it on Steam. They released it only in the Ubisoft Play launcher or whatever the fuck, which I'm definitely not installing or using on my PC, just because it's not going to have the same controller support or configuration or what's going to break or what the performance is going to suck, whatever. And so, you know, if you play this on console, then that's lovely. I'm sure you had a lovely time. But like, I guess I'm saying this of like, hello, Ubisoft. I would love to give you $60 of my money to play this game. And I did not do it because you did not make the game available to me. So now, and so part of the story is like, they missed revenue projections. Their marquee game is delayed. Star Wars Outlaws, which is like, this is the biggest franchise on Earth, probably. They did not sell enough copies, and so now they're in deep trouble. And also, addendum: hey, we're gonna bring these games back to Steam. Star Wars Outlaws comes to Steam in November, and you know what? I'm gonna wait until it's released. I'm gonna make sure the performance is good, and then I'm gonna wait for a sale, and then maybe I'll get it for $35.99 or something.
Sure. Yep.
You missed me, Ubisoft. Yep. You missed a player who would have loved to give you money for this game.
Exactly. But
why? So you could harvest my data or create get another account from me. It's like, I get it. I know why they do this, but
well, it doesn't mean you have to like it, and
I don't have to like it. And in a world where I have 78,000 digital accounts to subscribe and buy all the things, I just am not going to make one for Ubisoft Connect or whatever the heck it's called. I don't even know what it's called. I'm not either.
I hate that shit. That makes me crazy. Like, I'm like, I don't know. You know, I feel like on the whole, for myself, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I'm sure a lot of people would agree, I'm not going to sign up for one more fucking social media thing, one more app, one more, give me your email so you can get on our mailing list. Like, leave me alone. I am so far into leave me alone now that sometimes I finish work and I just put my phone on do not disturb. Because not only do I need to be left alone by social media, and I've turned off a lot of notifications, but I also want to be left alone by like even my friends. Like, just please, God, leave me alone. I'm so just not in the mood for any of this.
Yeah, it's well, and we're being personal and we're being funny, and all this is true. But I think this is you're painting a broader picture of like, you have to really cut through all this bullshit to reach me with a value proposition that I will spend my money, time, and attention on in order to make money from a video game. You know what I mean? Like, your game has to be outstanding and accessible and affordable to reach a big audience.
Right.
And if it ain't those things, then many people are gonna do what you're doing, which is like, just nope, can't, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
It's got to be so hard to navigate this industry right now, honestly. Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, the AAA situation is a wreck. I mean, I don't know what the best-selling games of this year have been, but boy, am I curious now that I stopped to think about it, because I just wonder what's working. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Helldivers sold like crazy, right?
Yeah. Yep. And sold like crazy and can continue to monetize because you can buy super credits to get cosmetics if you want them. So that was a hit. But, I don't think we covered it too deeply here, but Sony then attempted to bring Concord into the world. And I think we did talk about it. There were like 300 players. And then they were like, nope.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's not hitting. I mean,
listen to this.
Yeah.
EA's College Football 25 had a gigantic launch Launch month sales of EA Sports College Football 25 more than tripled the total lifetime dollar sales of the previous best-selling game in that
Yeah, I was hearing this was very popular.
Like,
I know
so
almost
that's
nothing
thing.
about it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about sports games because I don't care about sports. But like that's like the number. This is a list from GameSpot that they published in August. So that Helldivers, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Dragon's Dogma, Elden Ring.
Interesting.
EA Sports MVP bundle. So there's a lot of sports. MLB The Show, WWE 2K24. So a lot of sports.
Those are franchises that are like, hey, I only play Madden, and so I buy the console when Madden comes out, and then I play Madden, and that's my game. And that's
it.
I mean, I'm sure there's people who are more diverse than that, but I think those are like system selling tentpole every year kind of games. And I get it. It's not me.
I'm amused. The number 18 of this 20 game list is Grand Theft Auto 5, which
for sure,
obviously, right? But like it's just making me kind of giggle because I'm like, yeah.
Is
like,
that best-selling games of the quarter or of the month? What's the time period?
In the US so far, according to the NPD.
So far in 2024.
Correct.
Cool. So we're in,
original IPs, like that are not in given franchises like Sea of Thieves, Minecraft. Persona 3 Reload made it in there. That's nice.
Interesting. I mean, Sea of Thieves is on this list because it came to PS5, I presume, and got a big spike in sales. But again, I always viewed it as a medium game, and like not a niche game, but as it's a large community, but it's not a Call of Duty level kind of thing. But it's a bestseller in 2024. That's what it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I never thought to look at this. I just don't usually care about what the bestsellers are, but at that moment I was like, oh, actually that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, so are any of those games Ubisoft published or developed games?
Oh no. I mean, I don't think we would be reading this news piece if they were.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of games not on the list, and speaking of pirate games, also, the Skull and Bones debacle, which also reportedly, I want to see if I can find Wikipedia. No, I'm actually reading Skull and Bones, which is an order, a brotherhood from Yale University. I want the video game. Thank you so much. What's the budget of exceeding its budget? Yeah, I think I read recently that the budget was insane for the project. Reportedly cost. Okay, this is for Skull and Bones. The project reportedly cost Ubisoft $200 million to make the game that was then just a total flop and was totally like over budget, and the development was a mess. And then I think, as a person who would very, very much be interested in this game, I feel like I was looking at previews or reviews, and it's like, yeah, you're on the ship, but like you don't like control the ship, or you don't like, you can't like jump off something about like you can sail, but you can't really sail. And I'm like, it's a fucking sailing game.
But
what am I here to do?
Right. That doesn't make any sense at all.
So, I mean, you can still buy Skull and Bones on Steam if you care to, but again, Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed delayed, a Star Wars game basically flopping. Like, they're just not looking great. Actually, this makes me wonder about acquisition. What would, like, I'm not rooting for this, but like, would a Microsoft or an Amazon buy Ubisoft? That might happen soon.
Yeah,
I
don't know. That's just crazy. Well, perhaps we should move on to lighter weight news, like the fact that you can now play Balatro on your telephone.
Yes.
I still have never played Balatro. Like, I know everyone's like losing it over this game, and I have like zero interest in it, which I kind of hate. I hate myself a little for that, but yes.
Like, what is the why? I'm genuinely curious.
I don't
Like,
know.
what's the blocker for you?
I've never been a card game person, so that probably is one of the blockers.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't look, it just doesn't look like something that I really want to play. And I told my husband this, and he was like, weren't you the one that was obsessed with like Casino Kid when you were like on the NES? And I was like, that was like 30 something years ago. And he's like, well, I think you should give it a try. I was like, all right, well, if I can play it on mobile, I guess I'll give it a try. Maybe the next week I'll come back and I'll be like, I couldn't even finish packing my house to move because I couldn't stop playing Balatro.
Yeah, I think it will really hook into you. I think there is a certain kind of like, obsessive min-max precision quality about the game that really compels you to be like, it's one of those games that's like, oh, it's just, okay, I'm just doing this. And you make the thing and you're like, okay, that's great. And then you start to unpack like, oh, this card does this and this Joker multiplies this and this does this, but only when this happens. And you're like, it's like the big brain meme where the numbers fly out and you're like, whoa, it's one of those games. And so you can only experience that once you like touch it. And also, are you not a Magic the Gathering veteran, aficionado from back in the day, or not really?
I mean, I hesitate to say veteran because I feel like I'd be like I would not do well if I had to like sit down and play Magic right now because it's gotten so much more complex. But I started playing for the very first Magic set. So like I had all those crazy cards that people pay thousands of dollars for now. I had. So
and now
yes, I had. I do not have them anymore. Yes, not anymore.
Not that Balatro is much like Magic at all, but I guess the point being of like card games and deck building, it is certainly a deck building game, even though it's not, you do kind of start over every time. So it is a deck building roguelite, like whatever.
Yeah.
Any hoozle. I don't know if I'm going to double dip. I think my wife would also really like it. And I think she will really get hooked into a game if it's on her phone and she can very quickly, obsess and tap into it. She unlocked every single thing that she could get in Vampire Survivors. And then I saw her playing Vampire Survivors on Switch the other day. I'm like, didn't you do everything? She's like, yeah, I know. I'm starting over on Switch. I'm going to unlock everything on Switch now. I was like, great. Godspeed.
Okay. I don't know. I wonder, like, I wonder if it's a paid, like, can you download it for free and then you have to unlock it, or if it's like a paid app or what?
I think it's a premium app, like $8, $10, something like that, which,
I mean, we have it because Patrick's playing it on the Steam Deck. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll just be like,
try it on PC.
I'll try it and see, because to me it's just a card game. So I guess I don't get it. I don't get what people are obsessed about.
It's don't be like put off by the fact that it is boring ass playing cards and boring ass poker hands. Like, I enjoy poker, but I enjoy poker playing with humans, playing digital poker is not interesting to me. But it once you peel back the layer of like, oh, it's poker, it's not poker at all. Okay,
that's all I need to know, because I understood that there was kind of like some kind of hook with it, and I didn't know what it was, and I still don't know what it is. So I don't really have plans tonight, so maybe I'll just fire this up and wait to see what happens.
Report back.
I remember there was a time too where I was like, Stardew's ugly. I'm dead serious.
I believe it.
I was.
My wife said this. After her Animal Crossing obsession during the pandemic, all of our collective Animal Crossing obsessions, I was like, you need to start Stardew. You need to play it. It's on Switch. You should get it. And we fired it up, and she's like, everything's so small. Everything's so pixely. I can't. What is this? This is stupid. I'm like, bro, you don't even know.
Please tell me that you screamed bro in your wife's face. I really hope you did.
Like really close to her face. Like, bro.
That's hilarious.
Poker mechanics are the entry point to Balatro. The way you score is by creating poker hands, but actual Balatro, the metagame, is about so much more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And why not? Why not? Because I don't really feel like playing anything tonight that I've already played. Like sometimes I'll just like fire up a comfort game.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm at a weird point with like a couple of games that I've gone back to and like where I'm like, nah, I don't really want to play that. So I'm just going to try it because I want to come back next week and either say I was right, that was boring, or my God.
Yeah. And then you can join the Balatro Club in our Discord because, people are still talking about it. Speaking of folks in the Discord talking about cool games, Austin recommends strongly this thing that came out 2 weeks ago called UFO 50. And I have been very intrigued, and I've been watching some of it online, and I've been listening to some reviews.
I did that too.
And I think it's super cool. Austin says, this game seems so very much up your respective alleys. Holy crap, UFO 50 is pretty incredible, like that Action 52 NES game, but if the games are all actually full, amazing experiences. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty tempting. So I went and looked at it too after he recommended, and then I saw something even more appealing to me, which is that it has couch co-op.
Yes.
Which my husband and I are always looking for the right couch co-op games, and we have tried multiple times with Baldur's Gate, and it's just not for me. I can't. I can't.
You've bowed out.
Formally quit. Yeah, I've formally bowed out. I just it makes my ADHD brain feel funny in a not a good way. I am officially bowing out, and I think that means that you guys will still play. But I definitely think that I actually sent him a link like today, and I was like, we're talking about this, and I kind of think maybe this might be something we should check out. So I'm hoping to report back and say, yeah, we checked it out, and it's pretty cool.
You have two pages of homework here.
I do.
From your poking, did you see like the premise of it, like that it is a fictional studio, in the lore, made a bunch of games back in the 80s, and then they got lost, and now here's like the collection resurrecting them as almost like an Atari 50 or whatever, Atari 25, whatever it was.
Right.
But none of this actually existed. These are all modern new games, but they look like and are packaged like retro games from the 80s, but they're actually good and not shitty the way Austin
did not read that. I did not not bother to read that. I pretty much just looked at the videos and was like, whoa. And then I looked at co-op and I was like, whoa. And then that's pretty much what I got to. So,
and as Austin says, and as I'm sure you've seen, like many of these games are actually really excellent full-fledged experiences. And this is made by the creator of Spelunky and also other collaborators. So I think it's really cool. It's a group effort of like, hey, we want to put all these 50 cool games into one package, but they all have to be good, or most of them have to be like good/great. And it's like, here's an RPG, here's a tennis game, here's a farming game. Like there's all sorts of different stuff in there. So if you don't like the first 20, you're bound to find at least one that's going to hook you, I guess.
And Austin mentioned that we should start with a certain one, right?
Let's see.
I think he did.
There's a deck build. There's a deck builder on here alone that I'm entirely obsessed with. I have a feeling this one will see enough success to land on consoles. Yeah. So I had mentioned in our discussion there, I really am intrigued by this game, but because it has co-op and because it's so lo-fi, I would prefer to just like boop it up on the Switch, just like boop, and then sit down on the couch. I'm not gonna like turn on my computer, send it to the TV, connect my controller, blah, blah, blah. Like that is for Baldur's Gate time. For this, I want to just like hop in and enjoy it like right away. So I would love this to be on Switch.
Right.
And I think they do have plans to bring it, but it's only on Steam
PC for now,
right now. Yes.
Yeah, I get that. I'm probably going to just put it on my Steam Deck and then dock it and try
Perfect.
that.
I mean, that's perfection. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what I sent you originally. I thought there was some news or discussion that Nintendo was starting to crack down on streamers or YouTubers who are emulating games on the internet. But I don't know if that was older news or misinterpreted. But anyway, I'm not shocked if that is happening, but I cannot find a specific news item. But anyway.
Oh man, I just opened Kotaku to make sure there wasn't anything that I had missed to bring up, and there's a thing there that says Silent Hill 2 Remake is one of 2024's best horror games.
Is it being reviewed? Is it currently right? Because it's coming out very soon. Okay,
the 8th. It's coming out in 4 days.
4 days. Great.
So this is about the right time period for them to be reviewing it.
We were just talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but this is a must own, must buy, must play day one for you, except that I am moving into and bought a house, which is kind of a big deal. Patrick and I both have, and we are moving on the 16th. So we have a whole house to pack, and I was like so excited, like, oh, it's going to be during spooky month, et cetera, et cetera. And now I'm like, when do I think I'm going to have time to play Silent Hill 2? So I was thinking about holding off on it, but then I was like, well, I can't pack nonstop the entire time up to the move. I've already started. So I wonder if maybe I should just buy it anyway and be like, hey, I will get to enjoy this. I can, even if I enjoy it even in little bits and pieces, which I would prefer to, I don't want to like bull rush through it because I've waited a long time. Yeah, this is that would be my concern is like, okay, you're going to start it and you're going to love it. And then you're going to be so overwhelmed with moving in life and whatever that you then take a 2-week break before you really sit back down with it.
Yeah.
That kind of stinks. That's like, I don't know. Does that bother you as a
little bit
story
because luckily for me, it's not like I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but True. I also think that in a remake, they're going to be faithful, but I also know that they're going to try to put little new things here and there. And so, I don't know. Really I don't absorb. I feel very torn about it, like, should I, and then I know that if you do the deluxe package, it actually unlocks on the 6th. So it's a little sooner. It's Sunday. So I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I'm very undecided. I don't know what to do. I will decide on the 6th. Probably.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel a little weird about it because, I feel a little weird about it, but I will report back next week and hopefully I will have overcome all this overthinking and just be like, I got it. It is beautiful.
Do we need to maybe put a poll in the Discord and then you must abide by the poll? Let the community and listeners decide your fate so that you do not have to make the decision.
I feel like the listeners are going to be like, you fucking moron.
Just get it.
Just like, why would you even consider this? But, that's okay. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I'll figure out how that. Oh, we can do like a little emoji voting thing in there,
right?
And we will determine your fate when we see you next. I think that's mostly it for the news we were thinking
for the
about,
news
touching. Why don't we take a little break and then we can talk about a few other games right after this.
That sounds good.
We're back to talk about video games that we are currently playing, and I wonder if you have fired up anything in this very busy hurricane work and moving.
No,
phase for yourself?
that is very perceptive of you. The answer is no.
Literally nothing? Not even like a mobile nothing?
No, that's not true. Actually, you know what? No, I'm glad you said that. So I did play one mobile game that I every once in a great while I go to the App Store and I'll just look around.
Yeah.
And I found this game called Midnight Girl that is really interesting looking. It's a side-scrolling perspective, and it has a free demo, which is not super long, but that I played. And it's like
Midnight Girl?
It's called Midnight Girl.
Okay.
It's a point-and-click adventure. It takes place in France during the 60s, so it's got a very kind of moody, aesthetic, feel.
That's cool.
Yeah, the gist is that it's two thieves venture on a heist to steal a precious diamond. This should be a simple job, but someone is following them. So yeah, very moody, very fun. I loved the way it looked. I enjoyed playing it. For me, in the beginning part that I played, which is like you get to play the first segment, I didn't find the puzzles to be that hard. They're now maybe they get harder. I wouldn't say that there's no challenge. I think it would be fun to play it through, even if the puzzles weren't super difficult. I don't really like super difficult puzzles. So,
yes, same.
I have my missed scars. I don't really want to go back to that.
I'm looking at it on Steam, and it's like more games like this. Riven, missed.
Well, yeah, that's another thing I was going to say. So then I looked it up out of curiosity only to find out that you can also play it on Steam. It's not just a mobile game. It fits really well as a mobile game, but you can also play the demo for free there. But I liked it a lot. I didn't buy it as soon as I finished it, but I thought about it more than once. And so I think there's a possibility that I might consider buying it. Although I don't think it's is it the same price on the store? Let's see if it's the same price.
Yeah, it's $15 on Steam. I'm curious what it is on mobile.
$5.99.
Yeah, I mean, again.
So why is it so much cheaper as an app, I wonder? That's weird.
It's because no one will buy a $15 app. Like, it's just like this perception problem with games and value on a phone. It's very interesting to me. I fully get it, and I do understand why that's the case. But then when you look at it and you analyze it, you're like, but why? That makes no sense.
That's really odd. I mean, I don't know how long the game is, but I mean, obviously I'd just play it on my phone because I don't see any reason to go any other way. So yes, that is okay. So I'm looking at the Steam reviews now. A couple of people are saying the puzzles are quite easy. Okay. So if you're not looking for particularly hard puzzles and you enjoy it's a heist kind of vibe, if you want that.
Yeah.
One person mentions there's no Steam Cloud save, so that seems like an even better reason to just get it on mobile if you like that kind of thing.
That's so weird. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I took a gulp of water at that exact moment.
How dare you?
And it just resulted in this like radio silence. Anyway, so that is really all I have played this week. I just haven't had a ton of time, been thinking about moving, been thinking about other stuff. So that's where I'm at. But I am curious about what you're playing. Because you mentioned you were playing something, and I assume it's not Baldur's Gate.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm playing a lot of things. But first, before I share, what if you move, and then while you're unpacking into your new house, you then play unpacking the game at the same time?
Are you asking me to do this? Because I mean, I will.
What if you take out your shoes from a box in real life, and then you stop and go into the game and take out shoes? In the what if
it's going to take me a really, really long time to unpack
and a really long time to play the game, right?
Yes, really long time for both. Well, I think I've replayed unpacking now something like 5 times.
I know, right?
So,
you have.
Yeah, I might fly through it a little quicker. I don't know, but But perhaps if I think of, actually, I don't mind unpacking. Some people really hate that chore, but for me, for some reason, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I kind of think it's fun because,
yes,
well,
it is.
it's you get to go, oh, like, where do I want this to go?
Where does this go?
And since we're moving to a house, it's like, oh, like, this is also my house. So if I want to put this over here and then paint the wall green, I can even do that. So just stuff like that,
It's a creative process. Unpacking is designing your life and your space, but packing is a fucking hellscape of like, oh, it's all this. Why do I even have this shit? Who reads books anymore? So I'm just looking at a bookshelf.
It's funny. I have always purposely tried not to collect as many books as I wanted because I never wanted to move them. Yeah. And now we are in the ultimate danger zone because I am like, I have nothing to stop me from getting all the books now because I fucking own this house.
Yeah.
And I can finally go off in the level that I really want to.
Yeah, you've earned it. Well, let me ask you this question, which might not have a clear answer at this moment, but like, do you feel like this is like your forever house, that you will be here and this is going to be your final stop to build the rest of your career and life, or is it like a place in time,
No, I mean, I think it's hard to ever say forever about anything, but it is absolutely the place that I plan to be for the foreseeable future.
It's long term.
For long
Longest term. Yeah, love it. Yeah, then you should go hog wild on get a fancy bookshelf and make it pretty. Make it nice.
Oh, I'm not going to get a bookshelf. I have a 4-bedroom. I'm going to build a library.
Sweet.
I'm going to have a literal all walls covered floor to ceiling in books, and then just a big cozy leather reading chair and a little table for your tea or coffee. And that's it, baby.
When you don't have to put kids, when you don't have to put bedrooms in a bedroom, then you could do anything, man. So jealous.
I mean, it's kind of cool because we have a master bedroom for us, and then we have a guest room, which will be great when my mom or any of my friends come and stay, or Patrick's friends. But then we were like, man, we have 2 extra rooms. What do we do with them? And I was like, well, I usually use a bedroom for an office, but this house has got that cool little deal where when you walk in, it's got like a room on the left and a room on the right.
Nice,
and usually people use one as a dining room, but then the other one's just kind of like, well, what do you want to do with it? Whatever you want, And so I'm like, well, I'm going to use that for my office. So really we just have 2 bedrooms that we're like, what should we do with those? Anything we want,
VR
so
room, baby.
Right. Exactly. Oh my God.
Put the treadmill in.
Yes. Like all that, like the people that owned the house before, they actually had a whole workout room in one of the bedrooms.
Yeah. For sure.
So, I mean, we could do that. I mean, so many options. So anyway, I'm just prattling on about my house things.
No, but please, and I've told you this before you unpack and set everything up, just look around and be like, okay, how can I run Ethernet up and down to get to all the rooms that have the devices? And also, how can I run HDMI cables so that you can have your office and you can have your desktop computer, and then you go boop, boop, and then you put your PC out onto the big screen in the other room, and then you kick back and play Baldur's Gate on it.
And it's kind of cool actually, because the way it's set up in this house, my office is going to be the literal next room, and there's no door. There's just like a alcove, I guess.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I was thinking that was exactly what I was going to do.
Yes.
And I have a work computer now, so I don't actually use my PC often. So
then,
I was like, fuck yeah, let's hook it up to the living room.
Hell yeah.
And like go hard. So yes, I'm gonna be talking about this for a while.
Sick. That's really fun. We are missing and mourning the house projects because we have nothing left to do. We have renovated every room that needs to be renovated. Everything's furnished and painted. So like, we love going to thrift stores and looking at fancy old furniture. And every time we see things that we love, we're like, well, nowhere to put this. There's literally no place to put anything else in this house.
That sucks.
So it is a bummer. It's a bummer to be done with that forever, because we are here forever. Again,
right.
Even if we hit the lottery, maybe we would buy a second home somewhere to go on vacation, but we are not leaving where we are for a variety of reasons. So
yeah, no, I get it. Like I've never really had the desire, I guess, to like go really hard on decorating. Like, I mean, I think I decorate my apartments nicely, but it's just different when you're like, well, I can't be as creative as I want to be. Yeah. So I've never had that experience really.
Or I will have to take this down in 5 years when we make a change or whatever. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So right, well, anyway, but
keep us posted on the tech setup and all that good stuff. Balatro Mobile, Balatro Steam, and of course, what did we say? What was the other one? What did we just say?
We said Balatro Mobile, Balatro Steam, and Midnight Girl.
Midnight Girl, yep. Oh, and maybe Unpacking, but probably not.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that at the same time, but I shall be unpacking my home, and I will think of it and giggle.
Beautiful. Keep us posted on all of it. Just a little bit to share here. Continuing to play Baldur's Gate 3 and absolutely loving it. I get why it didn't click for you, and it didn't. You fell off, and it was like, this is not. It's too much. Like it's very
too much.
It's big, man. It's so
I had the
big.
same problem with Divinity, and I realized that this is absolutely me clanging up against the game, and the game is terrific. And one thing I do not like that just kills me that I got stuck like this is that I loved the story and I wanted to know more of what was going to go on with that story. It's
wonderful, and despite its complexity, Baldur's Gate has become a comfort game. Even when I don't feel like thinking too hard, I still find I am fluent enough with all the complexities of it that I can just sit down, relax, and just enjoy and make slow, methodical progress. Two things I'll say. The other day, I cut the head off of a cult leader, and then gave it to a mushroom guy, a mushroom person. And honestly, that went about as good as you could expect. It was a fantastic experience. And
10 out of 10 catharsis.
10 out of 10. And I will also say, I will not spoil anything. This is fully spoiler free, but I finally encountered a situation which I could have missed because it depending on which side or who you side with at a certain moment, or did you even go in this area to begin with? But my destiny, my fate led me to a place, and I chose to be a good person. And then I encountered a group of people that are related to the original Baldur's Gate games, 1 and 2. And then they were like, hey, glad you're okay. Come on down to the HQ. And in that place is a beloved character from the original games. Even though
cool.
this game takes place like 100 years later, there are lore reasons why this person is still alive. And I walk in and I'm like, oh my God, they're here. And it was, and literally I'm like, this is a person and a voice and a face that I have not seen in, 20, 30 years, I guess now, right? If these games are from like 1995 or whenever they're from.
Wow.
And it was just so cool to be like, oh my God. And then it was very funny because one character that I had in my party was like, wow, it's really them. They are a hero from this time in the past.
Aww.
Isn't it so cool that we get to meet them? They're right here. Wow. It's like, and I'm literally having the same feeling about this character. So I'm just enjoying like, not really Easter eggs, but like finally sensing the connective tissue between the world and the games. I'm constantly reading up on Forgotten Realms lore and history, gods and goddesses, and you are also, at least I am in my playthrough, meeting other like very important characters in the Forgotten Realms universe that are like that have probably appeared in many novels and other things that I have not read, but I know that they are key characters.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking stupendous. I love it so much.
That's so cool.
So yeah,
so
I'm playing
cool.
too many things. Baldur's Gate is the go-to. I spoke last week just as a solo episode about Echoes of Wisdom. I won't belabor that any further, but it is just truly a beautiful, wonderful, perfectly crafted top-down Zelda game, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But my big gripe from last week is that it really runs so bad. It's such a horrible experience from a performance standpoint.
Man,
And
that seems unlike Nintendo to me, but
That's what I'm
maybe I'm
saying.
wrong. But I saw you were you the one that posted to Reddit about it, or were you just in a
to Reddit?
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I shared on because it was the day. It was like the week of, maybe a day or two after it came out. And everyone in the Nintendo Switch subreddit is like, here's my fan art, and I love this game, and it's so great, and Zelda's so great. And I'm like, yes, it's so great. This game is great, and it runs like garbage. And I posted the reason. I made a post. I explained the reasons. I linked to the Digital Foundry video that clearly demonstrates with data that the game runs at 60 frames per second, and then you walk 3 steps in the overworld, and it yo-yos between 60 and 30 and just drops down and then climbs back up, and you're like, blip, 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 blip. And if you go in a dungeon or a cave or a town, like a house, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It runs great. So the actual, most of the puzzling and the fighting and stuff inside interior areas is fine. But even Digital Foundry is but there's this one boss fight, and you're just skipping frames, and then you get hit with a fireball or whatever. So I posted this to the subreddit, being it's great, but how could a first-party Nintendo game be this bad? And I will caveat that by saying it is another. I don't know the relationship, but it's Grezzo or whatever. That it's the studio that made Link's Awakening, which also ran like shit. The Link's Awakening remake. And it seems to be in the same, it's definitely in the same art style. I assume it's in the same engine. And, in a world where Mario Kart can play 16 players and not drop a single frame, you could play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And it's is it perfect? No, but it runs at a stable 30 frames per second. And these are the most complex, biggest open world games ever devised in gaming. And you're telling me that this top-down game with little action figures can't hold a stable frame rate? And people are just lock it at 30. It could just be a 30 frames game. That's great. We'd love that. But instead, It's this constant yo-yoing around. So I laid all this out in the podcast last week, and I also wrote it out in the subreddit. Now, when you post to Reddit, you can see the analytics on your own post. They're not public, but you can look. When you click on it, it's you can see. Yeah. This post has 1.1 million views.
Whoa.
It has been upvoted 81%. So either most people agree with me, or they just at least say, this is useful. This is a good conversation, whether they agree or not.
Yep.
And it has 1.2 thousand comments.
Wow. That's wild. That's a lot.
And this has no value to me. It's not well, I made this cool video and now I have a million views. It's just Reddit. The point is
people are paying attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the responses to this post range across the following categories. Number 1, yeah, it sucks. It runs like shit. I'm really disappointed. Number 2, what are you talking about? It's perfect. I haven't seen a single problem, and I've played for 30 hours. Yep. Number 3, well, it runs pretty good when you emulate it on PC. Ha ha ha. Okay. Number 4, man, that's disappointing to hear. Guess I'll wait for the Switch too. And then the fifth category of comment is why are you so? You're just so butthurt. Why do you care about this? It doesn't bother me. Go touch grass or whatever, whatever that. And I found that really, really amusing. I mean, most of that is expected, but people are saying there. I guess maybe there's a 6th category of people saying it definitely has problems, but runs like garbage is a hyperbole. Sure, I can accept that criticism for sure.
I can see that.
So anyway, look. when you feel like you're ready to make time for this game, you should absolutely get it. I don't think you'll care much about the problems, and it is.
No.
It is a perfect Zelda game where it's like you enter a temple or a dungeon or whatever, and you're like, oh, what do I do? How could I possibly? And then after 3 minutes, you're like, beep, boop, boop. Oh, this goes here. Oh, cool. Oh, I'm the smartest person ever. And you get the key and you unlock and you're like, oh, it is masterful S tier environmental puzzle design. There is nothing like a Zelda game when it comes to that. And it is excellent. And the cloning, the wand cloning system is it's just really fun. It's very unique and very special. So 10 out of 10, except it truly does run like garbage in many places.
I think you're right. I think it will not bother me. But yeah, and the only reason I held off on buying it was because we're moving and because, oh my God, moving is expensive. Like, my God. So I was like, I'm not even going to buy Silent Hill. I'm not going to buy Zelda. No. And so I was like, I can wait, because after we move, funny enough, we're going to save a ton of money because our new place costs so much less than our...
You're going to pay less in mortgage than you are paying for a house with 4 bedrooms than you're paying for an apartment rent.
Correct. Yeah. So it's like, I can go buy 8 games, and it won't even hurt a little.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I think I'll probably do some catching up in later October for sure. I think I'm probably going to go through Silent Hill first, and then I think after that I'm probably, because these were 2 games that I was looking really, really, really forward to.
As you should.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'll just touch on very briefly, because I hadn't played a ton of it, but it caught my eye again. I don't know, maybe there was a content update or there was a little news about it, but it's a game called Enshrouded, which is a third-person like survival crafting action game. And it really spoke to me because it looks beautiful and it has a vibe that kind of meshes, like it looks and feels and plays a bit like Palworld, just from an engine, from like an Unreal Engine kind of vibe. But it has nothing to do with like creature catching or Pokemon battling or anything like that. It is a more traditional action RPG type game, but you can deform the environment. You can break through like rocks and trees and like gather resources and build almost anything you want with a very sort of intuitive but flexible crafting system. So you basically turn materials into like units of stone wall or stone blocks or whatever, and then you quickly just go boop, 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 and you sort of attach things together Lego style, and you can build a little hut, or you can build a castle, or you can build big rigs for all different stuff, and there's farming and whatever. But the hook of it is that it is it's very fluid and it's very snappy. Like, it feels really snappy to play. It's very responsive, and the combat is very fast and responsive. So a lot, unlike Minecraft or whatever, where combat is not the core focus, there's definitely like you need to venture out into the world and fight monsters in order to get certain materials in order to upgrade and expand and level up. It's very similar to, this is actually a better analogy. It's very similar to Valheim mechanically, but it is prettier and snappier and much more interesting combat. And you can craft a glider, which lets you fly Breath of the Wild style across what is a very enormous map. And then the other hook is that there are areas of the map that are enshrouded by this purple mist that will kill you if you stay in it too long. So it's kind of like, I need to get materials from this area. This area is very dangerous with monsters and poison and shroud and whatever. And I need to get in there, and depending on how much I've rested or how cozy my house is or how much food I've packed with me and how much I've cooked and how much I've prepared, that will give me a runway to survive in the shroud. so that I can gather the things that I need and then come back. So it's like you're hopping into the danger zone and you're like scrambling around being like, oh, I got to get this. So, okay, you got to get a little bit of this. And, oh, this guy's attacking me. You kill him and then you take his stuff. And then, oh my God, I have 130 seconds left. I got to get out of here. And you're lost. And then you look at the map and you're like, shit. And you climb up and then you're out and you're like, whew, oh, I made it out alive. Okay, cool. What did I get? Okay, bring that stuff back. Build new stuff, build a forge, the blacksmith wants this for a quest, whatever. And so there is a lot of incentive to explore and adventure and fight, but then you come back home and it's the cozy feeling of like, this area is safe and enemies don't attack here outside of the shroud, so I can calmly take my time to start building a farm or level up my gear or build some crates over here so I can access my materials better. And it's that best of both worlds. It's like, it really is nothing like Stardew Valley, but it has that dichotomy of like, I'm building my farm, I'm building my home, and then the next day I'm going into the mines because I need stuff from the mines,
right,
and I got to fight stuff in the mines, right? And then you come back and you go back to Cozy Town. But it's in this 3-dimensional, very expansive, picturesque, open world survival crafting. It's a survival crafting game. It is one of those games through and through. It just has a lot of quality of life features and a lot of snappy gameplay combat stuff that Valheim has combat, but Valheim always felt very slow and sluggish, not in a bad way. It's just a slower paced game. Mm-hmm. This thing is like you fly down into the danger zone. Literally, you're flying through the air, and then you're like, whoosh, 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 slicing up guys, and then you like run away, and then you're out again. And so it's much more. It's just much faster paced somehow. And it looks great and it runs great as far as I can see. I believe it is only on PC. It is one of those like early access, but it is very mature. It's gotten many, many content patches and updates. I think it's been out for a year now.
Could you tell me the name one more time?
Yes. Enshrouded.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had it right. Enshrouded survival game. Because I found one thing I really learned is that I really do enjoy survival games. It depends on the type of survival game, but I really do enjoy it. And I hadn't heard of this one.
Yeah, it was one of those that like probably crossed my feed somewhere, and I was like, this looks cool, put it on a wish list. And then for whatever reason, I noticed it again last week or earlier this week. I was like, you know what? I want to take a break from like story lore heavy stuff in Baldur's Gate and hop over to like, let me build a house. Let me like tidy up my farm, whatever. And the thing that it does really nicely, the way Valheim does, is like what you build and what you cook and how much you rest really, really matters. Like if you venture into the wilderness unprepared, you will get your ass kicked. But if you eat like one portion of cooked meat and you eat some berries and you eat mushrooms, then you have all these buffs and boosts and your health is at max and your stamina is boosted up. And then it allows you to traverse the terrain and explore much more difficult areas with the boost. And it just makes you feel like you get bonuses for resting. So if you just sit in your house for 30 seconds, you will have stat bonuses that meaningfully affect how you fight and how you explore. And that to me is like, how I build my house and what I do at home really matters. It's not just aesthetic, which is I really like that part of these types of games. Valheim did it very well, and this is basically Valheim with like faster combat, I would say, and this shroud mechanic, which is very fun.
Pretty neat.
So I don't know what every night I don't know what add to wish list. I don't know what to play. Do I play Baldur's Gate? Do I catch up on Echoes of Wisdom? Do I build more houses here? I don't, too much.
You need a programmable 8-ball so you can just be like, what do I play? And it remember that? And it floats up into the little answer thing, and it's like, today you play Baldur's Gate 3.
I know. Well, like, we can just make a digital version. Like there must be an app. It could be an app. You just put 3 choices and then you roll the dice. Come on. It's got to exist.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you it does. I bet you it does. And in a world where we have too many decisions to make at all times,
yes,
you're like, is it time to just turn to the wisdom of the 8-ball again?
It was for some podcast from long ago. It was not my own show, but something I was working on. And one of the guests was like, just outsource, like we face too many decisions in our day, in our life because of modern life, and just outsourcing some decisions that have zero stakes to your phone, of just like, phone, what should I do? Or just roll a random number generator on your phone to decide, like, should I eat the pizza, leftover pizza? Should I eat the chicken? Just stop deciding things. Just let a robot do it, so that it's one less thing that you have to like think about. And I was like, I like this.
By the way, there's tons of Magic 8-ball apps.
For sure.
I just looked.
Spectacular. Fire up your Magic 8-ball. Let us know what you are playing. Hop into the Discord to vote on whether Colette should start Silent Hill 2 Remake now or wait till after the move.
Yes.
All the links are in the show notes, as always. We are slowly getting the episodes onto YouTube, so if you would be so kind as to tickle some buttons over there, that will get some algorithms flowing over on the YouTubes. And final thoughts before we get out of here.
It's so amazing that we've done hundreds of these, and so often I still can't think of anything.
Gotta be prepared.
This question. I'm really not. To be honest, all I can think about is moving. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night last night to go to the bathroom, and my brain was immediately like, well, you know what you could do is you could paint the thing on the front of the staircase, and you could paint that gray, and then you could do this. And I was just like, please give me peace.
This is 100%.
Please
Will
give me
you be
peace.
fully moved by the time we record the next episode, or we're going to take a week off maybe next week?
We'll take a week off, not next week, but the week after. The actual move date is the 16th.
Okay.
But yeah, next week I'll still be able to record, and then the week after I'll be unable to record.
Okay, great. So yes, we will put the poll. You will think about Balatro, and then we will find out if you are putting any mental energy into games before the move, and if not, we will catch up with you after that.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
See you later.
Bye.